Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Stott and I'm the Emperor of Stomaria. Today I want to talk about a new initiative in which Stomaria is going to be allocating funds to charity. Now, while it's not very unusual for various businesses or groups or entities of any kind to allocate funds to charitable organisations, we were actually inspired to do this by the Kingdom of Wayward in particular, because they have set up an initiative of their own which is very similar to what I'm about to go through now. And having had a conversation with King Raoul about this, I did say that I would mention that Wayward is actually the one that took the lead on this. They actually took the charge on this one. So I'm giving credit where credit is due. But what we are going to be doing going forward is slightly different from Wayward in that they have allocated a certain amount of funds for each citizen that they have. And they're going to be given that to a local charity or a homeless shelter or something to that effect every 6 months. We are going to be doing something slightly different. And we're going to look, for instance, at the United Kingdom government, at their foreign aid programme, because I thought that would be the most relevant, most applicable sort of department to look at. And they actually allocate about 0.7% of GDP to foreign aid. Now, what we are going to be doing is we're going to be allocating 1% of all of the earnings from Stomaria, so the ad revenue, the Patreon fees, the merchandise sales, the real-world economic activities, all of it. Anything that comes through our bank account, effectively, is going to be counted towards this, and 1% of all of it will be going to a charitable organisation at the end of each year. And I thought that would be a very nice gesture, because it won't be a lot of money, it won't be significant. You know, it might be somewhere between £500 and £1,000 that we earn over the course of a year, unless something spectacular happens and that increases dramatically. So we're only talking about £10. So the question then becomes, which charitable organisation do we give these funds to? Is it going to be on a rota? Is it going to be based on the kind of charity it is, which area that it focuses on, be it animal welfare or homelessness or war or poverty? You know, there are a lot of charitable organisations out there, and there are a lot of causes that are worth giving to. And having done a lot of research into this over the last few days in particular, it is insanely depressing just how much suffering there is out there, and knowing that you can only do so much, you can only give so much, you can only be so supportive, but you will never rid the world of the suffering, the evil out there. And that's a really difficult thing to sort of embrace. But it is just reality, unfortunately. But that all aside, I have decided that in 2024, which will be after a full year of us having a certain amount of revenue come through, so we'll be making the first contribution in 2024 once we know how much we are contributing, 1% of how much we make over 2023. And I want to contribute these funds to the Children's Cancer and Leukemia Group. And the reason I want to do this is because, first of all, I think any kind of charity revolving around children is definitely something worth supporting, regardless of what kind of charity it is, be it cancer or domestic abuse or poverty or war or whatever it may be, anything revolving children, because they are the most the innocent among us. They are not responsible for the atrocities and the problems of the world. They are the victims, regardless of what is occurring in the world. So that's the first thing. I wanted to give to a children's charity, but I wanted to give to a charity that also dealt with cancer, because this is also something that's quite relevant to me in my life, because no one would actually know this, aside from perhaps a very, very, very small circle of friends. But just to keep things, I suppose, open to everyone, is that when little Princess Eleanor was born on the 11th of June, it was obviously one of the happiest moments of my life. And she was born in the early hours of the 11th of June. So she was born in the midst of COVID. So I ended up having to wait in the hallway until Samantha, Empress Samantha, my wife, was in a position to push. But I made such a pest of myself that they let me in slightly early, because I wouldn't leave the hospital without Samantha, without knowing that she was going to be all right. So I waited in the hallways and they let me in early. And then she gave birth in the early hours of the 11th of June, as I say. And once everything had settled, she went to the prenatal ward for a day or two. So I actually went home at that point. The birth had happened, she was safe. I went to go home to get some sleep, and she was having some sleep in the hospital herself. But when I got home on the 11th of June and I went to sleep and then woke up in the morning, later on in the morning, I remember it distinctly. I was, overjoyed. I had my firstborn child, and I then got a text from my mother on that same day, saying that she had been diagnosed with cancer, with ovarian cancer, and it was terminal. And you can only imagine the kind of emotional trauma, I suppose, that sort of caused, in the sense that this was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, and it turned out to be a roller coaster of a journey. I mean, it really did. I was such a crazy time. It was really, really freaky. It was like, I can't think of a better way to describe it. It was just really surreal. Just all of these things happening at the same time, and all the emotions that came with that. And the worst part is I didn't want to tell my wife. I didn't want to tell Samantha, because she was obviously dealing with a lot herself. So I ended up spending several days by myself, because this was during COVID. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't see anyone. I was alone in our home, with Samantha oblivious to all of this in the hospital with our newborn baby, with Princess Eleanor, and it just really ate away with me. And as I say, it was cancer, and it was terminal, and we didn't know what was going to happen. And fortunately, as of the recording of this video, my mother is still battling this. But as I say, it's a very horrible disease, and it really does just eat away at you, even especially the people around you, I think, because you just never know what's going to happen and when it's going to happen, and is everything going to be all right, or how much time do we have? Because we thought at the time, with COVID happening all around us, obviously, that she wouldn't be seen in time. She wouldn't be able to get the treatment. She wouldn't be able to fight it properly. And I remember that Christmas in particular being a milestone that we were all very happy to reach. And then it was another Christmas after that, and another Christmas after that. So, obviously things have been better than we initially hoped. But the point stands that this issue of cancer is something that's very central to my own life in recent times, and sort of ties in obviously with Princess Eleanor being born, about as I say, children charities and all the rest of it. So without being too overly emotional about the situation, I did want to give to a cancer charity of some sort, and I did want to give to a children's charity of children's charity of some sort. So this is the kind of charity that I would like to give to allocate funds to from Stomaria. So while at this point of the video, I would normally encourage you to become a part of the Stomarian community through our Patreon campaign, on this particular occasion, I would like you to instead find a charitable organisation of some sort that you think is important, that's important to you, and perhaps just go and contribute some funds to them. Because as I say, this is not something I particularly want to milk, in the sense that I don't want people to be joining Stomaria just because of the story that I've told. But I do just want to highlight the reason that I want to choose the charity that I have chosen, the reasons behind it, the rationale behind it, because it is something that's important to me. So with all of that said, if you did enjoy this video, then please feel free to give it a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.